So this is a longer series for you to do, 45 minutes. It'll be a little bit of everything. And you're going to start lying down on your back. Have a couple of blocks and a strap just in case. You might not need any of it, but you might need all of it at the same time. So just always have it nearby. Right. Papa will modify a little bit if needed, and Janice will be doing the full thing. So you can start on your back in Shavasana with your legs reached out in front of you. Just flop them open, flap your arms open, and then turn your attention to your breathing. So first, when you get on your mat, try to hold your body still, even when that's really hard. It gives you the space to pay attention to your breath. Otherwise, it's difficult to hold your attention on that. You're paying more attention to kind of moving around or thinking about how your body feels, that sort of thing. And then deepen the cycles of breath, in through your nose, out through your nose. And then just one time, take a really big inhale through your nose until it lifts the top part of your chest up towards your chin. And then open your mouth and exhale. Let the breath out be really long, mirroring the length of your inhale. And then close your mouth, go back to in through your nose and out through your nose. If you practice Ujjayi, narrowing at the base of your throat, that keeps your breath long and even, like it is right now, and adds an audible quality to it, then add that here. And then blink your eyes open and bend your knees, put your feet on the floor. And then cross your right ankle over top of your left knee. Flex your right ankle all the way. And then grab the back of your left thigh to pull your leg in towards thread the needle. So only pull your left leg in tight enough that you can keep the back part of your pelvis flat on the floor. Flex your right ankle all the way. Papo. It's totally not doing what I say already. Bucking the system, ignoring me. Once your right ankle is flexed, if you can keep the back of your pelvis flat on the floor and pull your left leg in closer, then do. If your shoulders are hunched up, relax them down. If your head's lifted up off of the mat, put it down. If it won't go down, put a block underneath your head. All right, now the other side. So uncross, left ankle, right knee, pull that in. Now he's flexing his ankle. And your hips are really different from left to right, so this leg might not be able to come in quite as closely. That's all right. Keep your shoulders relaxing down so your chest broadens out. Head on the floor. Maybe pull your right leg in a little tighter towards you if you can keep the whole back part of your pelvis flat on the ground. And then undo that side. Put your feet on the floor. Shift your hips a little bit over to the right, just a couple of inches. And then hug your knees into your chest. Drop them over to the left. Have your hips bent at a 90-degree angle. So have your thighs parallel to the front of your mat. And then knees bent to a 90-degree angle too. And flex your ankles like you're standing on your feet. And then if you need to look down, you always can. But stack your right knee right over top of your left. And it'll probably mean you undo the twist a little bit. That's all right. And then from your upper back, twist and reach your right arm out to the side. If you need to lift your torso up to wiggle your left side ribs underneath you some more, then you can. Keep firming your legs together so you have a stable lower body. And then once you have that, you can twist into your upper back, keeping your lower back safe. Good. And then bring your knees back up. Feet on the floor. Shift your hips a little bit to the left. You just want your spine to stay parallel to the side of your mat when you're doing this. Hug your knees in and then drop them over to the right. And you think about doing chair pose in essence in your lower body. So hips stacked, knees and hips bent at 90 degrees, feet flexed or ankles flexed. And then twisting from your upper back, maybe looking over your left shoulder. And it'll feel like you're having to push your left hip to the right as you wrap your left ribs to the left. You want that opposition to be happening. Steady breath again. Good. And then come on up out of that. Hug your knees into your chest. And then rock yourself up and over and onto all fours. Okay. So have your knees and feet hip distance apart. And have your feet, their ankles flexed like we've been working. And then move your hands about 4 or 5 inches forward of your shoulders. Okay, and then spread your fingers wide and anchor your palms down into the mat and all of your fingers as well. and then hold on to that really firm anchor. See how far you can wrap the outer part of your arms back towards the back of your mat so your chest broadens out. Now, like you were just doing in that twist on your back, hug your hips together. Do it from your inner thigh muscles as well as from your outer hip muscles. And if it still feels like you're arching your lower back, add a little bit of abdominal support. Draw your navel up towards the crown of your head. Right, now widen your chest, push the floor away from you, and as you take your next exhale, push your hips up and back to down dog, and keep a soft bend in your knees. So once you're up in down dog, just to first get rid of what's happening in your legs. Keep the bend in your knees. You can even lift your heels up a little if you'd like. Right, so push the floor away from you with your hands. That same feeling of the entire palm and all 10 fingers evenly grounded. And then roll your inner arms towards the front of your mat, your outer arms down towards the floor. Get that sense of your upper back pushing in so that it flattens out. It doesn't have any round in it. And then your lower back perfectly flat as well. And then heels right behind your second toe. Make sure your kneecaps are facing the same direction as your toes. Leave all of that there. Use those same leg muscles, inner upper thighs, hug them together, and then squeeze your outer hips together as well. Okay, now hold the shape in your spine. It's way more important than if your legs get straight right away. So just start to push your legs straight, and if your tailbone drops down, keep the bend in your knees for now. Good. And then pull your heels down with that same activation in your ankles that you were working in thread the needle and the twist. And now inhale, come forward to plank pose until your shoulders are over your wrists. If you need to adjust the length, once you've ended up in this plank pose, that'll be the length of your down dog. Right, so same thing, press the floor down, build a little heat, wrap your outer arms back. Now, knees really straight, that same hugging in of your outer legs. But add more belly work. Think about trying to curl your tailbone down towards the floor so that the front of your pelvis starts to move up towards your chin. It'll make you want to bend your knees if you overdo it. Keep your knees really straight. Good. Now your spine is long and even. As you exhale, start to fold back into downward facing dog. And if you need to bend your knees on the way back to keep your spine long again, do. Right now, inhale, come on forward to plank pose, and we'll just move a little bit. Exhale, push yourself up and back, downward facing dog. If you've had a bend in your knees, keep trying to push your legs a little straighter every time. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, push yourself up and back. Do that one more time on your own. And just decide, as you're pushing your legs a little straighter every time, working the fronts of your thighs a little more, make sure your spine is the thing that's staying long and even. That's more important again. Now this time, inhale, come forward into plank pose, shoulders over your wrists. And then shift your shoulders past your wrists, but keep them away from your ears. Take a breath in, hug your arms in, and as you exhale, start to bend your elbows towards chaturanga. Right, get to a point where you know you can hold the straight line from your head through your heels. And then inhale, push up into plank pose. Exhale, push up and back into downward facing dog. So they didn't do any worm action, but if you had a little bit of that kind of worm or your belly dropped down, don't bend your elbows quite as much this next time. Okay? Inhale, come forward to plank, and then shoulders past your wrists. Keep looking forward. Exhale, bend towards chaturanga. An inch or eventually 90 degrees. Inhale, straight back up. Exhale, push up and back to down dog. At this time, inhale, come on forward. Exhale, start to bend. Hold. This is just for you, Janice. Take a breath in, and then exhale, lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Right. Uncurl your toes, interlace your fingers behind your back. And if you can't get your hands all the way together, you can put a strap between your hands so that you can get them up off of your low back. Reach your toes away from you so that your toes are pushing down and your knees are really straight. And then keep that, and on an inhale, lift your chest, your head up off of the mat somewhat, just a little bit. Get your upper back to push in, so your chest broadens out and becomes wider than your upper back. Allow your neck to feel long, so that it doesn't feel like it's the portion of your spine that's doing the bending. Your upper back is. Keep pushing your hip points down, your feet down. Reach your arms back, maybe lift a little bit higher. Good, now keep the work in your upper back and your legs. Just bring your hands alongside your lower ribs so your wrists are underneath your elbows. Fingers forward. Now press your hands down, and on an inhale, straighten your elbows all the way out and come into upward facing dog. And once you're in up dog, same activation in your legs, knees straight, feet pushing down, hands now pushing down, get your shoulders way down your back, and then press the tops of your shoulders straight back so your chest, again, broadens out a little wider than your upper back. Good. Exhale, roll over your toes and push back into downward facing dog. And walk your hands all the way back until they hit your feet. And grab your elbows once you're there. Hang yourself forward over your legs. And then once you're here, just decide if you're truly folding from your hips or if you're folding from your spine. Right? So if you're folding from your spine, your chest and your belly will be a really great distance or even a few inches away from your legs. Bend your knees until the lowest part of your belly hits your upper thighs, and then bend them a little more until your lower ribs start to hit your thighs as well. And then once you have that connection, that means you're folding from your hips now. Hold on to that. Firm your legs together like you were doing in down dog. And as you hang here, keeping your spine really long like it is, start to activate the fronts of your legs a little bit more so that even if they don't straighten further, you have the effort of trying to straighten them happening. And release your hands down to the floor. And inhale, pull your chest forward and wide into Ardha Uttanasana. If you need to come up higher onto your shins to get your spine flat, then do. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. All right, step up to the front of your mat. Bring the base of your big toes together. Put your heels right behind your second toe, and then arms just down alongside of you. And turn your palms to face forward so that your chest opens up. And then keep that inhale, reach your arms out to the side, up alongside your ears. Exhale, fold from your hips like you were doing at the back of the mat. And if you need to bend your knees, you can. Hands down. And then inhale, stretch your chest forward and wide. Arch your upper back. And if you, again, you need to come up on your shins, then do. Right? Now keep that long, flat back. Bend your knees. Plant your fingertips next to your toes. Keep your chest forward. Your shoulders are past your wrists like they need to be. Step one leg back and the other so you're in plank, already shifted forward. Take a breath in. Exhale, bend and lower to chaturanga. Flip your toes and inhale into up dog. You can lower to the mat and take cobra if you'd prefer. And then exhale, push yourself up and back into downward facing dog. Okay. From down dog, inhale, come on forward into plank pose. Bring your shoulders over your wrists. And then pick your right foot up off of the mat. Keep looking forward. Keep your upper body as it is. As you exhale, bring your right knee into your chest and your right heel to your sit bone. Don't look down, look forward. Good. There's no poses where you look down at your knee. Not a single one. I don't know why we teach that way all the time. I've decided it's silly. Right? Pull your right thigh up a little tighter, your belly up a little tighter. See if you can get your right leg really close to your chest. Now inhale, stretch up and back to three-legged dog. Keep your right hips square so that your right heel's over your second toe. That same firming in of your outer hips. Right, now, keep your upper body in down dog. Hollow your belly back towards your spine and pull your right knee into your chest here in down dog like you were just doing in plank. See if you can get it a little tighter by curling your tailbone underneath your body towards your chin. Right? Then pull the heel up. Keep this connection. Shift forward to plank. Push the floor away from you. Step your right foot all the way between your hands. Okay, step your left foot forward to meet it. Inhale into Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold all the way forward and down. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Reach out and up. And then exhale, join your hands together. Okay, second side, inhale, reach up. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold down. Inhale, look forward, chest wide. Exhale, step back into plank pose, fingers next to your toes. Take a breath in again, and then exhale, chaturanga. Flip your toes, inhale into the back bend of your choice for today, and then exhale, fold back into downward facing dog. And once you're in down dog again, inhale, come forward into plank. Once you're in plank, hold your upper body in plank, pick your left foot up, and exhale, left knee, pull it into your chest. So it won't come as tight here necessarily. It's harder to get your leg in from this position than it is to start it in down dog. And then stretch up and back, three-legged dog from here. Keep your hips square. Flex your left ankle all the way. Right? Now see if you can get it a little tighter. Keep your upper body in down dog. Pull your belly in. Pull your left thigh in. Squeeze the heel up to your sit bone. Allow your lower back to round a little so you can get the thigh a little closer. Good. Now hold on to that. Come forward to plank and hold. Squeeze the heel up, push the floor down, try to make more space away from the ground, and then step your left foot between your hands. Step your right foot forward to meet it. Inhale, chest wide, look up. Exhale, fold forward from your hips. Inhale, come all the way up, reach out, up, alongside your ears. And then exhale, join your hands together. Right, so Namaskara A now. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, chest wide. Exhale, step, or if you're going to hop, hands next to your toes, hop back, bend your arms in the air to Chaturanga. Good. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, fold back into downward facing dog. Okay, so you did it in little piece by piece steps a moment ago. It's that same effort to step your foot silently forward. People ask all the time, how do you get your foot to step between your hands really quietly? That's how. Think about pulling your thigh into your chest, shifting forward to plank, and landing it between your hands. So you can keep doing that, or this time you can hop. It would be the same action, except you're going to do it with 2 legs at once, meaning belly in, thighs to chest, land your feet between your hands. So look forward, bend your knees, step or hop. It's up to you. Good. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, come all the way up, reach up. And then exhale, join your hands together in front of your heart. All right. From here, step wide to the side of your mat. Just face the left-hand side. Right. Parallel your feet off to start with. Bring your hands to your hips. And from your right hip, turn your right leg all the way out, so your knee, heel, toes face dead ahead. Pivot your back foot in some. Line up heel to arch, and then start to bend your right knee towards Warrior Two. So keep your hands on your hips, and just decide if your right hip or right hand feels closer to the ground than your left. If it does, drop your left outer hip down, pick the right one up until you're level from left to right. Okay, and then your left hip will be closer to the side of your mat. That's fine. Reach your arms out to the sides. Good. Start to bend into your right knee. Keep the weight in your heel as you do that. Reach back through the outer edge of your back foot. Press your inner left thigh back. Bend a little further towards 90 in your front knee. Okay, square your chest to the side of your mat. Let your lower body stay how you set it up. And then look over your right fingers for the last couple of breaths. See if you can bend a little further. Good. And then cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Step yourself back into plank pose. Take a vinyasa from here to down dog. Stretch your right leg up and back. Keep your left leg like down dog, chest like down dog. Open your right hip, bend your right knee. Okay, so find the muscles you were just using to hold your right hip under your body in Warrior Two, and now use them to turn your leg open. Okay, squeeze your heel into your sit bone like you were doing in knee to nose. Now keep your hip open like this. Inhale, come forward into plank. Exhale, pull your right knee to your right tricep. Good. Either make a Barbie foot or flex your right ankle, just so that your ankle's always doing something. Keep your back leg really straight, chest wide, keep looking forward. See if you can fold from your right hip, climbing your knee maybe a little higher up your outer arm. Good. Then pull that knee into your nose. Push the floor down, look forward, step your right foot up between your hands, step your left foot forward to meet it. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold all the way back down. Inhale, come all the way up, reach up. And then exhale, join your hands together. All right, this time step wide to the right. That's the left. Once your feet are wide apart, hands on your hips, spin your left leg out, right toes pivot them in some, line up heel to arch, and then start to bend your left knee, left hip, knee, heel, second toe in one long line parallel to the side of the mat, like you've been working in all the other poses. Okay, decide, pelvis level, left to right, back leg really straight, and then arms out to the side from there. Okay, so treat your back leg as the anchor. You're so lopsided. Push the outer edge of your back foot down. Anchor the inner thigh. Pull it back so you can start to bend into your left knee a little further. Is it straight? Yeah, I didn't think so. Square your chest off. Your hips will want to go with your chest. Keep them as they were. And then look over your left fingers. Okay. Lower back should feel like it's just in a natural curve. So if it doesn't, if you feel like you're really arching there, pull the front of your pelvis up, pop out. He said it's up. It's not up. Bend a little bit further. Don't back talk me. Exhale, curve with your hands down to the mat. Step back and take a vinyasa. Okay, once you're in down dog, hold the shape of down dog. Just stretch your left leg up and back. Open from your hip. Bend your left knee. Open, bend, stretch. It's very tempting to let the rest of the pose change shape, but because it's going to mirror what you were just doing standing, try not to. Janice, don't arch your lower back. It will hurt long term. Squeeze your left heel into your sit bone. Now hold that external rotation in your hip. Come forward to plank, and then pull your left knee to your left tricep. Bring it all the way in. Good. Once it's in, activate your left ankle in some way. Keep your back leg straight, belly in, push the floor down, maybe climb the knee up a little bit higher. Good. Now bring the knee into your chest. Look forward if you look down. Step your foot forward. Step your right foot to meet it. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward and down again. This time, inhale, bend your knees, sink your hips back into chair pose, and take your arms up. Good. Once you're up, shift back into your heels. And that same work in your legs we've been doing. Knees hug, use your inner thighs, keep them hugging, squeeze your outer hips together. Draw the lower part of your belly up just enough, and then lift your chest up, maybe look up, work your hands closer together. Exhale up to standing, bring your hands together in front of your heart, mountain pose. Inhale, bend your knees, sink back into chair pose. Exhale, fold first from your hips, start to straighten your legs out once your hands hit the ground. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, look forward, and exhale, take yourself through a vinyasa to down dog. Good. From downward facing dog, that same control, step your right foot forward, spin your back heel flat. Inhale, come on up into warrior one, reach all the way up to the top. I'm not going to hold it, just make sure your back leg is straight. And then exhale, take your hands down to your mat and go through a vinyasa again to down dog. And then side two. Once you're in down dog, step your left foot forward, right heel, spin it down, anchor your back foot, straighten your knee, and take a breath up into warrior one. Good. And then exhale, hands down to your mat, and again, go through a vinyasa downward facing. Good. And then pause in down dog. So add a couple of things to Surya Namaskar B today. Turn them into a twisted version. Look forward, bend your knees, hop, step, whichever you'd like. Nice, hop. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, bend your knees, drop your hips, sit back into chair pose, reach your arms up. And exhale up to standing, bring your hands together, mountain pose. And inhale, bend your knees, sit back into chair. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga. Again, the whole vinyasa, end up back in downward facing. Inhale, come forward into plank pose. Okay, hold your upper body in plank, pick your right foot up. As you exhale, twist and bring your right knee across towards your left arm. Good. Keep pushing your right shoulder back so your chest stays square to the front of your mat like it was in plank. Feel where the work is across your abdomen that allows your spine to twist. And now bring that knee to your chest. Step your foot forward. Have your feet hip distance apart. Come up onto your left fingertips. Make sure your back leg is completely straight like plank pose. Arch your upper back and start to twist to the right, reaching your right arm straight up. If you need a block underneath of your left hand, put a block underneath of your left hand so that you can get into your upper back. Okay. Notice what your left hip is doing. So it's easier to find square and to keep square if you lift your pelvis up away from the floor so that it feels like your left hip is doing plank, not a back bend. And then firm your hips together, keeping your right knee facing ahead. Good. Now turn your top palm to the front of your mat and reach your top arm up and over alongside your ear. And keep wrapping your outer left arm back towards the back of your mat so that shoulder stays back. Good. Pop a pin your right knee in more. There you go. Good. And then take your hand down to the mat and go through a vinyasa to down dog. And then from down dog, inhale into plank pose. Pick your left foot up. Exhale, left knee across to your right arm. Twist it. Good. Hold. Push the floor down, that same effort. Find your back leg, knees straight, belly in, and then thigh to chest. Push the floor down a little more strongly and step your foot through. And then from there, up onto your right fingertips or on the block if you used it on the other side. Make sure your back knee is straight. Let your whole pelvis lift up away from the floor until you find that straight line from your right heel through your right shoulder, and then begin to twist from your upper back as you also move that into a little effort of back bend. Good. Make sure you're firming your left outer hip in, so that knee is facing ahead. It really likes to bow open to the side, especially if your pelvis is dropped down a little too far. Okay, and then turn your top palm from your shoulder and reach your top arm up and over. And then once it comes up and over, you can really reach through the side of your waist as long as you keep spinning your outer left arm towards the side of your mat. Good. And then take that hand down and do a vinyasa through to down dog. And then look up at your hands, bend your knees, step or hop to the front. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold all the way back down. Inhale, bend your knees, drop your hips back into chair pose. And exhale, push yourself up to standing. Bring your hands together, right? One with a couple deeper twists. Inhale, bend your knees, sit back into chair. Exhale, hands to your heart and twist to the right. Ooh, tricky. Right? So once you start to twist, hook your arm across. And then like you did in the very first twist at the beginning of class, make sure your knees are parallel, your hips are hugging together. Little bit of lower belly work so that you're not draping the front of your pelvis on your legs. And then twist into your upper back, pressing your palms together. Good. Inhale, square yourself off into chair pose. Hands to your heart, exhale to the other side right away. Stay in your legs. Keep firming them together so that they stay very symmetrical and you can get into the proper part of your spine to twist. Find those belly muscles you were using in knee to tricep to continue deepening the twist muscularly, and then use your breath to open your chest, to soften the pose a little bit. Good. Inhale, chair pose, reach up. This time, exhale, fold forward, what you wanted to do, Janice. Inhale, chest wide, look forward. Exhale through a vinyasa to down dog. Okay, last standing pose that we'll do, and then it's time to cool down. All right, from here, step your right foot forward. This time, inhale, come up into crescent pose, reach all the way up. And then once you're up, hands together in front of your heart, lean halfway forward. Take another big breath to widen your chest and to get your back leg straight, and then exhale, start to twist. Left elbow, right knee. Good. Just like you did in the bigger open version of this a moment ago. Once your back knee is straight, notice your left hip. Lift your pelvis up until it doesn't feel like it's in a back bend at all. Right knee, keep it facing ahead. It's really tempting to let it bow in or out, depending. And then chest wide. Couple of deeper breaths. If you can part your arms and do that without the pose changing, go ahead. My arms are too short for that to happen. Janice has long arms. Lucky her. Good. And then exhale. Take your hands down to the mat and go through a vinyasa again to down dog. Okay, last standing pose on this side. Step your left foot forward. Inhale, come on up into crescent pose. And then hands together. Exhale, lean halfway forward. Take a big inhale, firm your back leg, widen your chest, and exhale, twist. So just a few breaths to set it up. And then again, let your breath move you a little deeper into the twist. As long as you're stable in your lower body, you're holding that steady, you can safely twist into your upper back. Use your hands pressing together as some leverage. And take one more breath in. And then exhale, hands to the mat, and take a final vinyasa through to down dog. And then from down dog, look forward and hop all the way through, lie down on your back. Right, so we'll do a couple of back bends to have it be a little bit of everything. So knees bent, feet on the floor, hip distance apart. Right, and then arms alongside of you. And just decide if it feels like your heels are right underneath your knees. They should feel pretty much straight under them or even like a half an inch forward towards the front of your mat. Okay, arms alongside of you. Keep your legs parallel, and on an inhale, lift your hips up away from the floor. Okay, they'll want to unparallel. Your knees will want to bow out to the side. Keep them firmed in. Wiggle your shoulder heads underneath of you. Interlace your fingers. And then push your feet down. Hug your outer hips together. Move the back bend into your upper back, pushing the tops of your shoulders down into the mat to widen your chest. Long, even breaths. And then take your arms apart and slowly lower yourself all the way back down. Right, so depending on the day, you can continue with the active back bends. If you have blocks, you're always welcome to set yourself up into supported bridge. So that would be lifting your hips up just like you did for an active bridge pose a moment ago, and putting the block underneath the back of your pelvis. It shouldn't be touching your spine. It should be on the big flat surface of the back of your pelvis. If you're going to stay with the active back bends, inhale, lift your hips up again. Take your shoulder heads under. If your arms come all the way together and you can push them down into the mat, do. You can grab the sides of your mat if they don't. So work the stability of your lower body, just like you would do in chair pose. Think about your lower back having a natural curve and trying to open your hips here, so letting the front of your pelvis lift up. And then your upper back, press it in towards your chin. And then take your arms apart and lower yourself all the way back down again. And then you do that one more time. And when you lift yourself up one more time, spend at least 5 breaths, as many as 8, up in bridge pose. And when you finish with that bridge pose, you can lower yourself down and just knock your knees in towards one another and widen your feet out some. And then take a few breaths just to lie there. So it was plenty of effort, plenty of exertion that you've already done. And so now there's a pairing of a little bit of a softer section of the practice. Some letting go, some extra focus on your breath. And it's easy for your mind to start to wander because you won't have as much effort to put out or as many alignment points to follow. But it's the process of trying to concentrate your mind with the same intensity that you were doing in the standing poses when you were trying to focus on your alignment. So start to watch your breath move in and then watch it move out. And then once you've been lying here for a little bit, you can hug your knees into your chest. You can take a couple rocks side to side, forward to back if you'd like to. If you don't, you can just hug them in softly and a little tighter as you lie here, letting your spine round. And then reach down and grab the edges of your feet and do Happy Baby. And 2 ways to do Happy Baby. One's to drop the back of your pelvis flat onto the floor. The other is to let it round. If you let it round, it shouldn't hurt your hips or your lower back. So if it does, drop your pelvis flat onto the floor and then widen your chest. And again, go back to watching your breath move in and out. And then hug your knees back in again. And then we'll do the twist that we did at the beginning, except now with one leg in, one leg out. So if you need, you can shift your hips as you do this too. Stretch your left leg out, hug your right knee in, and drop it off to the left. And then once it's over, reach your right arm out to the side, look over your right shoulder. So you can treat your right leg the same way you did in the first one, where your hip is bent to 90, your knee is bent to 90, and flex your ankle. If this ever bothers your lower back, you can put a block underneath your twisted leg, so underneath your right knee here, so that it doesn't go all the way down to the floor. And then come back up and hug your left knee in, reach your right leg out, and twist the other way. Just be aware of your breath as it happens. Know that it's moving in. Know that it's moving out. And I forget every couple of seconds that that is actually the only thing that's really happening in real time. That's just me lying in a pose, breathing. My mind becomes much more interesting than just my breath. So it's a constant reminder to yourself, constant training your attention back. I am breathing in, I am breathing out, over and over. And then come on up out of that side, hug both your knees in. So you have a couple of choices. You can stay on your back and repeat thread the needle like we did at the beginning, or you can rock yourself up to seated and choose either double pigeon or cross legs. Okay, so if setting double pigeon up properly isn't going to happen, your hips aren't ready for that, then just Sukhasana, crossing one shin in front of the other with your ankles flexed. Okay, and then fold yourself forward and you can walk your hands out in front of you. And then you have blocks, and if you would like to put one underneath your forehead, you can. If your head reaches the floor, you don't need to. And then just sink into the pose. And I know that it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable in your hip. There's an opening that's happening. And so it's very tempting to fidget and to move away from the discomfort. If it's bad pain, you have to decide. If it's bad pain, then you move. You change positions, you realign yourself, you go to a different posture. But if it's just discomfort, getting used to being uncomfortable is really key. And so you try to hold still and favor thinking about your breath rather than moving around and avoiding what's happening. And then make your way up out of that side. Change your legs. And then fold yourself back in. And again, just become still physically, allowing your breath to interest you, to hold your attention as much as it can. And with a good amount of patience for yourself, compassion for yourself, when you're not paying attention to your breath and you realize it, go back and start again. It's a very simple process. It is not easy, but it is a simple process of just constantly redirecting your attention. And then make your way up out of that side and stretch both of your legs out in front of you for Dandasana. You can do legs all the way together if your hamstrings are something that you tend to favor. If not, legs hip distance is perfectly fine too. And flex your ankles, Put your heels right under your second toe, and then sit up really, really tall. So you had a strap. If you need it for this, you're welcome to use it. Reach your arms up for a breath in. From the crown of your head all the way down to your sit bones. Feel like you're in one line. And then from the crease of your hips, like you did that very first forward fold, start to fold there, pulling your chest forward. When you get to a place where you feel like you're going to collapse your front body and round your upper back, pause and grab whatever is right next to you. It can be your outer knees. It can mean wrapping a strap around your feet. You may get all the way to your feet. You will one day if you put the effort into working your legs, into folding in this way. And your neck can relax and you can close your eyes and go back right to that same thing. Found the effort in your body, breath moving in and out, and concentrating on that every opportunity that you have. And then inhale, set yourself all the way up. And lie yourself back down on your back where you started. And set up into Shavasana. And so get comfortable in your positioning. Spread your legs and arms out. And then once you're pretty much comfortable, there might be things that bother you. Sweat might roll down you. You might get itchy. Try to hold still here, no matter what. There's nothing that's going to injure you in Shavasana, so just try to get comfortable and then comfortable with being a little bit uncomfortable the whole time too. Soften your breath, but keep paying attention to it. And so your body's resting, and one of the ways to rest your mind, frankly the only way I know how to rest it, is to put it on one thing. And that takes work and concentration. But it's a lot more rest than letting it wander around wherever it wants. It's also helping you cultivate that skill. So for the next few moments, watch your breath, Shavasana. And if your mind has wandered off your breath, go back to watching it move in and out. And deepen the cycles of breath like you did at the beginning. And hold your attention on your breath as best you can. And start to move your body. You can add a little movement to your hands and feet if you like. Eventually roll yourself to your right and then come up to a comfortable seat with your hands rested on your legs. And then sit yourself up tall. And come into stillness again. And back to watching your breath if you lost it. And then join your hands together in front of your heart. For a final time, take a long inhale in. Long exhale, bow your head down. And look up. Open your eyes. Namaste.